Hi, I'm Sarah Baya and welcome to my science class. Hello, we have another fun and interesting lesson this week, and we are still on the topic of force. In today's lesson, we will be explaining the other effects of force and conditions needed to move an object when force is applied on it. At the end of our lesson, you are expected to explain the effects of changing the amount of force applied to an object and demonstrate examples of the effects of force to an object. But before we proceed with our main topic, let us review what we have learned about force. I'm going to show you some pictures and you're going to guess the force needed to move the object. So if you're ready, let's get started. If you answered them all correctly, congratulations! Last week, we learned that force is a push or pull upon an object resulting from the object's interaction with another object. Force can change the size, shape, and affects the movement of an object. So for today's lesson, we will investigate further the conditions needed in applying force to an object and its other effects. As a safety reminder, always be careful in handling materials. Perform the activities carefully so you will not harm yourself. Always perform the activity in the presence of an adult. Take a look at the conversation. One of the boys asked, "Can you move that stone?" The other boy replied, "It's so easy." Why do you think it's easy to move that stone? Now, let's take a look at the next conversation. The first boy said, "Can you move that stone?" One boy answered, "It's so big." Now, why do you think it's difficult to move that stone? One of the conditions that affects the amount of force needed to move an object is its size and shape. Let me give you an example and guess which object is easier to move. Take a look at the two metal cabinets. Which of these two is easier to move and why? If you guess that cabinet A is easier to move than cabinet B, you're right. Now why? Again, if your answer is because of its size, your guess is correct. Cabinet A is smaller than cabinet B, that is why it is easier to move. So if you're going to push cabinet A, how much force do you need? Cabinet A is small, that is why it only needs less force to move it. Now, let's have another example. Can you guess which of these two objects is easier to push? If you answered the lawn mower, you're correct. Now, why do you think so? Because the lawn mower is smaller compared to the car. So how much force do we need to push the lawn mower? The lawn mower requires less force to move it. So what have we learned from these two examples? We learned that the smaller the object, the weaker or less force is needed for it to move. And the reverse, the bigger the object, the stronger or greater force is needed to move it. Now, take a look at the picture. Both cart contains the same amount of objects in it. Which cart do you think will move fast and why? If your answer is cart B, you are correct. The man pushing the cart B applied more force in it, that is why it moved fast. On the next picture, which child do you think exerted more force on the swing? If your answer is the child on swing A, You are correct. She applied greater force on the swing, that is why she went higher than the other child. We have learned that force is push or pull. When we apply force, objects move or change their size and shape. We can measure force by using a device called the force meter. The standard unit of force is called Newton. Its symbol is N. The more newtons applied, the greater the force. Now let's take a look at the next picture. Boy A kicked the ball with a force of 25 newtons, while Boy B kicked the ball using 100 newtons. Who kicked the ball the farthest and why? If your answer is Boy B, you are correct. Boy B applied a force of 100 newton greater than the force applied by Boy A, which is only 25 newtons. In the next example, which team will win the tug of war and why? If you guess Team A, that's correct. Team A applied a greater amount of force than Team B, that is why they won the tug of war. So we can conclude that the stronger the force applied, the faster the object will move, and the weaker the force, the slower the object will move. Now, let's take a look at the other effect of force on objects. If an object is moving and force is applied in the opposite direction, the object will slow down or stop from moving. For example, if a ball is thrown towards you and you happen to catch the ball, it will cause the ball to stop from moving. A car can be stopped or slowed down by applying force on the brakes. Brakes are used to stop a moving vehicle. The friction between the brake pads and the wheel ultimately stops the vehicle. Force can make an object stop from moving. Another effect of force is that it can make a moving object change in direction. In baseball, the pitcher sets the ball in motion, causing the ball to move in one direction. When the batter hits the ball, it changes the direction of the ball's motion. In a game of baseball, the change in direction is the key. The direction of the ball depends on the angle it gets hit. It requires much concentration and practice to precisely change the direction. Are you up for some challenge? Our challenge for today is to read each question carefully and guess the letter of the correct answer. If you are ready to test your wits, let's start! If you answered them all correctly, congratulations! We have learned today that force, when applied to an object, can change its size, shape, and movement. It also changes its direction and can cause the object to stop from moving. So that's it for our lesson today. Don't forget to read more about our lesson in your textbook and module and answer the activities in your worksheets. Once again, I'm your teacher, Sir Abaya. Thanks for listening. See you next time. So for today, see you next time.